And I think we're recording. Let's get started. Hey, it's Sandra Bissell, and you are part of our very first Ask the Expert Fridays. As you have seen on Facebook, it's not going as well or as planned. It's going very well, just not as planned. So excuse me, and I'm learning how to use this new technology. But we are here nonetheless, and let's get started. Our group, as I mentioned before, is a container for sharing and discussing topics related to how to create a passionate global life. And how precious is that we have an amazing artist here with us today to help us, make memories that we can take along in this journey. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I met Marcia. I love my lifestyle. Sorry, guys, I'm a little bit all over the place because things didn't work out very nicely in the beginning. So my apologies, but we are going to get this done today. And so I met Marcia, as I have been meeting many people as I travel the world and through my work. Marcia and I met during a business conference a couple of years ago, right, Marcia? And the fun part is that due to the possibility of doing this type of things virtually, we worked together for a whole year, working on the back end of our business. So it has been a wonderful relationship, and she has been so generous helping us in the ExpatJoy challenge that I thought there could be no other person than Marcia to start this series of Ask the Expert series. So there she is. She's all beautiful in her beautiful room. And so here we are. Marcia Dolgin, a global soul like all of us here, was born in Vermont. And now she's relocating. She just finished relocating to Newton, Massachusetts in the United States. She is an amazing soul, and you'll see why I think so. Her photos will tell you the story. She's a talented artist serving frustrated photographers. Do you relate to that? I do. And how does she serve people like me and maybe like you as well, who are frustrated with our photos? She teaches us how to use our hearts, use our emotions, and of course some camera tech tools, so we can get the photos that speak, that we see in our mind's eyes. When you look at a scenery and for you it's beautiful, the light is perfect, so you grab your iPhone or you grab your camera and there you go, you take a photo. And then later on, you're frustrated because the results aren't what you saw in your mind's eyes. So Marcia is here today to share with us tips on how to get those photos closer to what we see with our mind's eyes. And we'll start with Marcia sharing her story and how it relates to her life's mission. Then we will continue having a light conversation. And finally, in the end, Marcia is going to share with us a gift. So stay tuned so you can get that gift in the end of this I'll call this a call, webinar, whatever you want to call it, but stay tuned. And if you have questions, because we are not doing this live, you are welcome to post them in the comments below, and she will answer later on. And also I'll post her website and email, so you can directly contact her. So Marcia, are you ready to tell a little bit about your life story and your beautiful work?
I am ready, thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me. I am so honored. So yeah, I feel this will be a very special opportunity for everyone, and to raise their bar of their expectations of their own photos, and I get to have fun doing this, so with you.
Thank you, I really appreciate it. So the stage is all yours. The virtual stage is all yours.
All right, thank you.
Take a journey, please.
All right, whew, take a deep breath. Okay, so yeah, this is our pretend wine. So I was born and raised in Vermont, which is a very rural area, in a very rural area, a little community of a massive 4,000 people in a whole county, which is a number of towns. And it was a wonderful place to grow up, and I was very affected by my environment. I was in a somewhat dysfunctional family, which allowed me to be more creative because that was my escape. And I had a bunch of challenging, very challenging things that happened to me that kept me even more in my creativity because my creativity was safe and I was always learning. So I ended up going to art school and I got a degree in fine art, which was heaven. I mean, heaven for me. It
Love
was
it.
one of the best times of my life in terms of my explosive growth. I was able to get away from all the negative things and the negative talk and just grow, grow, grow. I studied, I loved it so much I kept studying, and I actually lucked out when I moved to California. I moved around a lot. And so when I moved to California, I got to study with a very famous gentleman called Ansel Adams, and
Yeah,
for 3 years.
I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years. It was 3 years. It was very structured. It was very challenging, I can tell you that. And I was lucky enough to have this very, very solid foundation. So I grew through that really quickly. Ended up moving back to Massachusetts, where I went to college, and started a studio for fun and giggles. And I had to hit the ground running. And I'll make the long story short. I did not know anything about strobes or outside or technical lighting. I just knew natural lighting, and so I had to learn that. And I got everybody in the world, cousins, sisters, aunts, uncles, friends. I used them as victims, so I learned how to do this whole thing, and I got really good. And then in the end, I photographed women, specifically women, in a non-judgmental way, to give them what they really wanted. We did hair and makeup at the time, and blew their socks off because I just felt it was an underserved area. Anyways, to make a long story short, I also ended up on television. That they received 2,500 phone calls. I was booked up for 4.5 years. I actually had to turn down Oprah because I
Wow.
had no space to put her. But it was okay. I was like overwhelmed, and that's learning. Learning to scale is really important. Was not able to do that at the time. I didn't have the support I needed, and I was overwhelmed. But I did it. We went through, and I grew my studio. Anyways, but there are three things. So here I am. I sold my studio. I am teaching and coaching now, and I am focused on the things that really work. I'm an award-winning photographer. I've been on television. I have a tremendous amount of effort that I focused on, and did not see it as I did not see it as working at the expense of other things. This was my life. I loved it. So
Marcia, may I intrude for a second? I have a question that's a burning question. I have
yeah,
to. How your work relates to your life's mission?
well, that's a really good question. The one thing that I constantly have done throughout all my life and all the things that I do is turning people onto themselves. It's amazing when you're photographing, and this is true with your cell phone, okay? When you're photographing and you're focused, you've got an idea. It's triggered in you. In order to pick up your camera, you feel like something moved you. That's your heart trigger, okay? Something moved you to pick it up. What happens is then you have your brain gets in the way sometimes, but honestly, the mind's eye is run by your heart also. So it's your brain's job to figure out the technical stuff on how do I get this, and that's going to bring me to my 3 tips that are going to make a huge difference in your photographs. And this is what I do throughout everything. But in the process, please hear me. What happens is when you focus intently to try to make this mind's eye thing happen, you are giving unconditional love to that thing, whether it's a human, a flower, a scene. And that unconditional love is actually not only being given, but it's giving back to yourself. So it's a level of awareness, and the awareness is tantamount to, it's so important. And the end result is may or may not happen, but the process is very powerful. So my 3 rules, I'm going to give you 3 rules and I'm going to show you some samples. My 3 rules are, number 1, what is the best time of day? All right. And the best time of day is relative to, are you ready? What is your subject? Okay. The best time of day for a 2-year-old is not 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now you want to shoot yourself. The best time to photograph a 2-year-old is in the morning, or any child under 5 should be photographed in the morning, preferably before the first nap. Maybe if they got up really early, a little bit later. The best time of the day for photographing outside, if you're doing portraiture, is in the morning, super early, or in the afternoon or evening before the sun sets. It's called the sweet light, about an hour before the sun sets. The light level's low. The best time to do an overview, okay, is not necessarily a sunny time, okay? Some of the best photographs are in fog. So you wanna think about, what's the vision you have, and think about what is the best time of the day to do this. Photographing snow outside in the day with your dog running around in the snow is not going to happen. It's not going to be the best time of day in a bright sunny day, because your camera is going to make everything look gray. All right, so there's the best time. That's number 1. Also, if it's elderly people, super elderly, you want to get them in the morning. No other time is really good.
What I'm hearing is that you have to know your subject well and see how their energy will be like depending on the time of the day. So
that's part of it.
The light itself.
That's part of it.
Okay.
These 3 things that I'm going to give you are 3 things that you can do before you even pick up the camera.
Awesome.
All right.
Inspiration. Yep.
So the second thing is, where is your camera located? All right. Is it high? Is it low? Is it where you're standing and you're always standing? So do you think everybody else sees the same thing that you see from a standing pose, from your position, all right, where your camera is loaded? So what you want to do is you want to have more power. If you're doing a human or a dog or a pet or something like that, you want to be eyeball to eyeball. And I don't mean almost eyeball to eyeball. I don't mean like this much, this much. I mean this much. Eyeball to eyeball will make such a big difference. Now, this is planning. This is before you even pick up the camera, because you need to place your camera somewhere. And if it's just on the front of your face while you're standing, it's the same view everybody else sees. It's not going to stand out. And it's not going to have the impact that you want it to have. The third thing is, where is your subject located? Okay, so if there's a bunch of porta potties behind you, you probably aren't going to love that particular place. So you would probably ask your subject, if it's a human, to move to a better background. And if it's a bright, bright, bright window, or a bright, bright, bright sunny day, or something behind them, turn them around so the sun is, or the brighter light is on their face. If you've been in the number of photographs that I've seen of people in bars and clubs with the light behind them and they're just black.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Everyone does that. So turn, move the camera or move the people so that they have some light on them.
It's very important. Thank you.
Okay, so you've got 3 things: the best time of day, the best location for your subject, and the best location for your camera.
Where you have it.
Where you have it. Where is it? Is it high? Is it low? I'm going to show a few photographs, if that's okay.
Yes,
that will demonstrate this.
And by the way, guys, you have seen some of Marcia's work in our group. I hope you have been enjoying. Today, she's showing us. They're very different. I got a sneak peek a little bit earlier. So enjoy these ones as well. They're different, and perhaps we can aim to learn a tiny little bit of what she's going to show us. Don't get intimidated.
Oh yeah, no, don't. So the photographs that I show you on the internet are pretty much shot with my cell phone. All right, and they're on my life, just life stuff, and I have done some work to them. But what I'm going to show you now is a little different, and all these rules that I'm talking about still come in handy. I am devastatingly trying to impress how important those 3 rules are, and they happen to me 100 times. Every time of day. One of the things also is I'm going to share this now.
Yes, please. Got it? Oh.
So this is a little slideshow I did for someone else, but I wanted to say, so this was a 5-year-old. And you can see when I talk about doing eyeball to eyeball, I'm not above her and I'm not below her. I'm looking at her eyeball to eyeball. And it just has such a bigger impression than you looking down at somebody.
I can see that.
All right, that's the power of that. This kind of situation, this is me skiing, all right? And and I'm planning, when I did this, I mean, my heart was triggered, okay? And I had a vision to see this. So you can see that there's a good design put in here too. I've got a distant situation. I've got design going on like this. The shadows are bright enough.
For 1 minute, if I may.
Yes.
So I heard that, yes, your heart is triggered, but I hear also there is an intention there of before even you take the photo. So there's a preparation, there's the intention of how you want it to look. It's not just pulling out your phone and going for the shot, right?
Well, that's a way to start. There's a whole thought process using those 3 rules, okay? I'm serious, that is my life, okay? It's the foundation. Before I pick up the camera, but I'm faster now because I've been doing this forever. So I'm skiing, I see this, it's a perfect setup, bang, I take the photograph. But I've also, experience does help, but you still are reacting to your heart triggers. So a lot of times in something like this, I mean, your heart trigger might just be dead on right. You don't have to worry about all the rest of the stuff because it's giving you the right time of day. It's giving you all the things that you want.
So trust your gut or your
heart. Trust your gut, trust your heart. It's not really yeah.
Yep, I got it.
And, you know, be prepared for some things that are just, and again, I'm eyeball to eyeball in this funny photograph. Okay, I'm eyeball to eyeball, and the background is just simple. All right, you can put someone up against a brick wall. You can put someone, just keep out the porta potties and the other things.
I'll keep that.
Eyeball to eyeball. Again, I'm going to just jump through this.
Okay.
Oh, and be prepared. You know, eyeball to eyeball can be, you might have to get down low. Okay.
So sweet.
So this can be just in front of a window. All right. I'm going to jump. So in some cases, you might want to move things out of the way. In this particular photograph, let me just move this over. In this particular photograph, I had to take a lamp out of the way. Now, I know this is posed. This is a Holocaust survivor. And there was a big lamp behind her head, and I moved it because I was doing my rules, right?
Yep.
That lamp was going to make her head look like a box. And I needed to have it separate. So there's times when you can actually, if you can, step up and take action so that you can get the photograph that you want. Right? Okay. That's really important.
So a little bit of staging is okay, right?
It's totally okay. It's your vision.
Yep.
It's your vision. You own it.
Yep.
You can, as long as you ask permission to.
I love your passion, Marcia. It's your vision. Get it out there. Thank you. I hear
you. This is one of my absolute favorite photographs.
Oh, she's lovely.
2-year-old.
Marcia, why is she, this photograph, one of your most favorite?
Well, first of all, the print looks different than this. The print looks like a drawing, and her hands are just amazing. And those eyes. She did not speak English, and I don't speak whatever she spoke. And she was a little shy at first, and I went, that's the best time. Oh, so I got the real her at that time that she was at that moment. It's authentic. But I'm right eyeball to eyeball. Do you see the difference? And when you think about your own photographs and you're shooting down at them,
yeah,
you know, whatever, you know, it's the same as everybody else. You're basically capturing a moment, but it's not what you could have captured. If you just squatted down a little bit or sat in a chair and shot across or something like that.
Gotcha.
But, I love the emotion. I love the way the hands and the fingers, oh, I could eat them. This photograph, I actually have this photograph large in my, right here in this, it's a giant portrait.
I love that. It seems to me that I can see into her soul. It's like her eyes are really these little bright windows, and you can kind of go in her. That's how I take it. The
Is
hands are adorable, of course.
children do not fake it very well. So so you can get
Aren't
into
we
it.
lucky?
And then this photograph here, I'm sorry, I'm moving it over. This was another Holocaust survivor dancing with his American wife.
Mm.
And so, you know, one of the things you do whenever you're doing this, by the way, is you sometimes are a part-time psychologist.
Oh.
I had to make sure the wife was not taking over the scene. You know, it's all about him.
Yes, yes, of course. That was
Do it.
the intention behind of your photo, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
got you.
Here's this is just someone wearing a black shirt, right?
Mm,
And you could use window light. It's a brand new newborn, and using
yes,
window light. So again, I'm down now. Again, I'm not shooting across down. I'm literally squatting and
I
shooting
see.
across so that I can get this whole photograph. That's
Eh,
what's really it's important. So timing, a newborn, you don't have to worry so much about what time of the day it would be. But
Yeah.
if you're working with a child who's like this age,
Mm,
you know, she's 5. I could probably do her after kindergarten.
yes, yes.
Just moving. I don't want to. Okay, front and back. You can have kids at a profile. You can or people or whatever. You can in your pre-visualization, you allow yourself to take a photograph, look at what you've got, what's the best part out of it, and then move. Then go and focus on that part of the photograph, just part of the photograph. What part of the photograph do I like the most? And then follow that, do it again, and
Okay.
just focus on that part. Follow it and do it again. So you might get someone in profile, you might get someone from their back.
So it's a step by step, and you allow your heart to lead you.
Yes, and you
Gotcha.
don't know, and you don't. It's like a miniature exploration, just like travel.
I can see you're lit up, darling. Go on, go on.
But you don't know where you're going to end up sometimes, and you end up if you started at a point of having a mind's eye, and then you allow it to take you to the next step, even for 5 minutes. You'll be
Yes,
surprised about where you will end up photographically.
thank you. That's an awesome tip.
This is a 90-year-old and her great-granddaughter. This was used for Washington, D.C., the train stations all over for 6 weeks. It was on trains, buses, like giant buses, the skin of buses, and it was to support ovarian cancer coalition for women to take tests for ovarian cancer that a lot of doctors still don't offer it, and you need to ask for it. It's like the PSA test. I can't remember what it's called, but anyways, it's very
Yeah,
important.
okay.
So this was used all over the buses in Washington, D.C. And again, I'm eyeball to eyeball.
Yep, yep.
I had to take out the Mickey Mouse on her shirt.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think it
so
was a good choice.
yeah, this one right here is kind of funny. So again, you want to be you have an idea of what you want to start, but if you listen to your heart,
Yes.
you actually may end up with something completely different. So this bottom photograph down here was intended to be a photograph of a family. And we had a little meltdown with the youngest. Didn't want to do it. So instead of doing their faces, I did their feet.
My
And
goodness, it's so creative, and I'm sure they adore that photo. You know,
really,
it's got right.
this was a photo of hysterical laughter, and I just threw a black blanket over everybody and black background. And
Wow.
they're from England, so the girls are all at Burberry bows.
Oh,
Okay.
that's awesome. So you show their cultural heritage.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
tried to.
I love, yes, yeah, you did. You could.
So we've got, let's see, I think this is mom, this is dad, this is the 3 middle kids, and then this is the little one. The little one, because she's so little, had to be on their knees.
Oh, wow.
All
Wow.
right? So they're hysterical laughing under the blanket, falling all over the place.
So you created a photo and memory and a souvenir for life. So in one session. Awesome.
And this was my heart and my brain working really on overtime. How do I fix this? How do I make this session happen?
Well, maybe that's why it's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Again, I do a lot of black and white, but you know, things that really go on, you know, like again, this would have been, anybody would have taken this photograph, or it doesn't matter if it's you know, a puppy dog or a scene. But when the action is happening, I'm taking the photo, I'm squatting, or you know, I'm in a place where in every one of these, I'm right at the eyeball to eyeball kind of
Wow.
situation. So that's what makes it stand out versus, would this have been any different if I was up higher? Yeah, you wouldn't have seen all this. Even here, I'm down on the floor with these people.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
literally on the floor with them. This
Okay.
is another Holocaust photo,
I'm,
and triangle.
mm,
There's our triangle.
yes.
Um, Very powerful one light photograph. This could have been a window light. That's
Mm,
how I lit it. It was all done that way.
that's good.
Um, I'm just gonna run through. This was used internationally, by the way. Again, eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah.
Um,
Very simple background
very,
again.
yeah, very,
A little
had,
pop of color with
yeah.
the tattoo and the bowl, right? The head bowl.
And so, you know, if you have trees behind there and so on, you want to try to get something that separates them. And if, you know, if you squint and you see, and this is another tip, if you squint and you see too many things that are
Okay.
interrupting, you're not going to see your subject. So squinting is a really good way to
It's a good
separate.
tool. A tool that we all have, right? So we can
Yeah,
squint and find out how that looks like. Okay, awesome.
and if you're quick, you can do ready, set, go, jump,
Yeah.
click. Okay, ready. Usually some people can do it, and I can do it in 2 times. I can't do it the first time. I have to see what their timing is.
Yes,
But
yes.
you can get, if you get this, you are a hero in their eyes.
I
So,
bet. It's a lovely photo, yes.
but,
It,
uh,
you can
just
use your timer on iPhone too, so that works sometimes, right?
you know, you use it on burst.
Yes, yes, that's what I did recently. I learned with my sister-in-law. It was a fun photo.
If you do it on burst, if you hold your phone down, the button down, and don't lift it up while you're taking a photograph, it'll take multiple photographs, and then you can go back in and search which one you like the best, and then throw the others away.
Awesome.
I
Thank
liked her so much that I made it part of a promo piece for me. That's me. that's,
you.
that's her. And remember that every moment counts.
Yes,
You know, so you, again, no, by the way, I'm not standing up, I'm down low.
yes.
What a difference it makes.
It does, because
So
your photos are to die for. And you're telling me that even when you're taking these high-end photos, as I'll call them, you are using your 3 rules all the time.
100%. Okay. So I can't recommend it enough, even when I'm out on the kayak, which you guys have seen me do
Yeah?
multiple times with my cell phone in a waterproof thing, and I have to undo and take it out, take the picture, put it back in the waterproof thing. Um, yeah, it's something moves me, I take it. And I mean, I take a lot that I don't use also,
Mhm.
because every time I start shooting, I might start, what am I missing? And I turn around sometimes, you know, as much as possible, see what's going on around me. So the
Okay.
awareness level your awareness level goes up. So if you're traveling a lot,
Yes.
you already know you can get lost in your head and miss everything around you.
So
Having
I love that, Marcia, and I'm gonna intrude again, the awareness, right? So the getting back into your body moment, and then you can look around. As you said, I'm gonna take a photo of X, but maybe the Y or whatever is behind me is even more precious. And it's only by being present that you are able to really, see what it is that you can take a photo of. So that's awesome.
also, don't forget that I did mention something about getting out of your head. Letting your heart run the show allows you to, because of the new cameras, you can look at your image immediately,
Mhm.
and find the section that looks the best, that you like the best out of your last photo, if you liked it, if you wanted to investigate more, and then go to that one spot and focus more on, make up another photograph of that one part of the photograph, and make it a whole photograph now, and then see where that leads you, and see where that leads you, and see where that leads you, and that's opening your awareness to just to that. And then you can look around and see what around me is with the same kind of thing that turned me on in the first place. So it's all about turning people onto themselves and finding this unconditional love that comes from within. And it's,
Thank you.
yeah, so that's my thing.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Marcia. And Marcia will share with us, which I will post in the comments below, her 3 tips in a format that you can consume later on. So you heard it today here, and then you can download it later. And the link's going to be below, her email and also her website, so you can ask her questions. We are getting to the end of our very spontaneous first webinar here, but I am so excited because Marcia, you're bringing so much value. At least to me, I'm loving what you're teaching. The question of getting to, yesterday, for instance, I went to a local market and I saw all these beautiful things, but it was happening under the tents. It was a food market. And it didn't occur to me, that's where my attention was. But I took a photo of the whole market. Of course, the photos aren't good. But what was, the conversation between the vendors and the local people, and some of them were from different backgrounds, was so much more interesting to me. And we're talking about me here, right? So let's talk about the truth, right? Is what we are feeling at the moment. So putting ourselves into our photos is something I'm learning from you. So I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks
you.
for all your shares. And is there anything you want to leave us with? A quote or something that inspires you?
Gosh, that's a good one. I wasn't ready for that.
I know I didn't ask you to prepare.
I guess I think it's important to tune into your heart as much, a couple times. I mean, we all have work, we have things, other people own us sometimes. We give our power away a lot. This is one time where we can live in our power and grow by happenstance, and to allow the freedom to bring you to whatever is coming next, even in the worst situations. This can be an enlightenment. And I just think that opening your heart to yourself is a gift.
Wow, that's beautiful. Opening our heart through photography. Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you, Marcia, so much for being here. And I will see you on Facebook, on the ExpatJoy group.
Yes. By the way, and thank you so much, and thank everybody for your likes and hearts, and thanks everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna just stop right here. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for your patience.